Hey guys, what's going on? This is David Chen. You're on another edition of Pandanomics Podcast, and we've been blasting through Vegas this whole entire 14, 15 amazing days during Super Bowl weekend. And of course, we went to one of my favorite people, the one and only Taylor. And let me tell you, this guy is running all the big stuff at Razer. Tell us a little about yourself, man. Thanks for coming over here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Each other? Let's talk about the serendipitous thing.
I think we met at Esports Awards last year, kind of very briefly, said hello. We had some kind of mutual connections with some other stuff that we do.
Right.
And then this past year, we got a little bit more connected based off just some of the stuff I was trying to accomplish and get to at Razer. Kind of know more about you, what you were up to, and here we are.
I was actually I didn't tell you this. I was like, oh shit, the guy from Razer follows me. He was like right there. I literally said it just like that, just so we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
So like it's another way around. So I'm like, cool.
Oh man, nah.
And
I'm just
was cool, dude.
Yeah, 100%. Man, I'm just a normal guy though. Man.
I love it.
I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm doing my thing. So
as a normal guy who is 23 and running a very large unnormal, tell us about how you got into this, what you did, and how you got into the industry.
Yeah, honestly, what I tell people is I kind of started without even knowing. I was 11, 12 years old, just wanting to really prove myself, wanting to grind. I mean, I started by watching some of my favorite content creators. You know, at the time, I was a massive fan of Optic Gaming and FaZe Clan and some of their original stuff that they did, as I feel most people were during that age. I feel like they both had a really, really big representation when it came to getting into that space. For me, I started out really wanting to do what those guys did, right? Become the pro player, becoming a content creator, moving around to different areas, being able to travel, stuff like that. By the time I was in high school, I learned a little bit more about sort of the business ways and ethics of different stuff that was happening and what I could actually do, because I just saw how hard it really was getting into content, and how content is actually a role that you can't necessarily stop. You have to really keep up with the times and keep up with the trends and really keep up with everything that's going on and be so consistent that you don't need the biggest break rate. You just need to be consistent. And that was really difficult for me, especially being a full-time student, trying to figure out where I wanted to go, whether it was, sports or esports and just whatever passion I wanted to follow. I always knew I wanted to follow passion, but that was what it was. But anyways, in high school, I kind of figured out I really like the product side of things. I really like figuring out keyboards, mice, headsets. And then I would see different partnerships happening. I would see, stuff like Optic and Turtle X, or FaZe and Scuff, stuff like that. And really can be like, I want to be that person that creates that cool stuff. I want to create cool shit. I don't know if I can curse on your podcast, but it's sweet. Yeah. I just want to be the person that creates cool shit. I want to be the person where, right now, with me being at 23, I want to be that one that the 12, 13-year-old that were in my shoes now when I was 10 years ago sees that and he's like, oh, Taylor just did this really cool thing. I want to be the person to create the next cool thing like this. And I want to be that head front person to be like, yeah, I did this. I accomplished this. And that's where my passion really lies, is just creating cool stuff in this industry, in this world, and just pushing it as much as I can to the younger demographic. That way they can also keep leveling up this whole entire industry.
You talk about this, and I love that, man. We have seen so many up and downs in the space in the last 3 years. I mean, you ever sitting there, 4 or 5 years ago, the beginning phase, looking at the first valuation for Forbes when it was 300, 400 million, the second valuation at $1 billion, looking at the third valuation at $2 billion. Looking at the shareholder price today, it's 50 cents, 18 cents.
Something like that. Shit. Yeah, it dropped a lot.
Man, you talk about
crazy,
gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
But what I've realized about this industry is they're still going to sell. They're still going to be loved. Nobody really cared as much about the corporate guys, the corporate stuff, as much as the corporate guys did. And I think that was the reset in the bubble we needed to make the industry what it is, and to get rid of a lot of people and realize that we had to work together, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think at a certain point, you do kind of need to see where you do lie, right? Kind of see where you end up in terms of, success rate, having that CEO or having more of a, corporate leveling system, right? I think when it came to esports organizations as a whole, there weren't many that lasted well that, as we saw over the previous couple of years. but I think it's in the right direction now where, some people are getting put into the right places again. And esports and gaming is kind of inevitable. I have this conversation with people all the time of esports isn't just going to end. People love this. Whether you're a teenager or you're my age and just out of your teenage years and early 20s, late 20s, 30s. If you're a gamer, that lasts for basically your entire life. And naturally, you're more than likely going to pass that down generation by generation. And it's so cool to think about like where it's really going, because esports, let's be honest, is in its infant toddler stages, and it's already out, I guess, I don't know about outperforming, but it's on a faster trend than other things where, such as, you look back 60, 70 years ago that, I don't know, say Joe Montana wanted to throw a football and his dad being like, really, you're going to throw a ball for money your entire life? Like,
right.
You really think that's going to work? And he's like, yeah, I'm passionate about it. And now you see where the NFL is today. I think that's sort of the same trend for esports, gaming, content, all those things.
Yeah, man, I feel like for it to work on this round, we were talking about this earlier, just before the podcast, like people have to want to work together.
Yep.
And these groups have to be more accepting. And I think a lot of times that it's not that people don't want to work together. I think it was more of there wasn't a lot of people who would actually take the initiative to try to get to know everybody, because it was so transactional.
Yeah.
And I hated that. I felt like in a world where you're supposed to help people, in a world where you were dealing games, and you were all right. I was thinking about this as you were saying this. I haven't a kid yet, but my niece, last time she was there, shout out to Kiki, she's sitting there and she's playing Spider-Man. And she had never played it before. Like, I was talking to her, my sister, and I was trying to keep her distracted, so I threw her Spider-Man. And every couple of minutes, she'd be playing, get to a level. Like, when we were kids, you run out.
Nope.
No. One was like, get out, we passed the level. I'm like, I'll run back past the level.
Yeah.
Run back out. We're going to run back again. But it reminded me of when we were kids. Like, you was
Sure.
like, can you help me pass that level? But when I talk to her and as she's getting older and my godkids are getting older, they're like, uncle or goddad, you own part of Phase Line, you own part of Training Grounds, you own part of this, this guy, that guy. And like you said, it's such an amazing thing at my age now to see 10-year-olds and 20-year-olds really respect and see the work you've done. But what I respect about you is in your 20s, you've already understood that. Most people don't understand that in the 20s. They're very selfish about themselves and not about the universal world.
Sure.
Obviously, very worldly things that you put together. And to me, that's an amazing thing where I see the paradigm of shifting. And I think about gaming, and I think about these collaborations. Like, what is a major collaboration that you really like, that you're like, man, I did this was amazing, and it like really made you smile?
Razer and Dolce & Gabbana.
Dude, I knew you were going to say it, but I wanted to bring it up. But I was waiting for you to tell me about that, man.
Razer and Dolce was super cool. It was something cool for me because I didn't necessarily I wasn't the person that did the entire thing, right? I only saw bits and pieces of it. But the fact that I was able to be a part of the original team at Good Day, shout out Tommy and Vanessa, appreciate you guys, love you guys. We were just a three-person team just in this room, in actually DarkZero's HQ out here in Vegas. And Tommy is super passionate just like I am. And he really just wanted to make cool stuff also. He has a massive, this dude is literally a ball of energy. You walk into him, he's like just he lights up a room, I absolutely love him. He's an amazing dude. But anyways, we were sitting there. Literally, it was my first day working with them. And we had to go get actually HDMI cable for a monitor for me to work on. And me and Vanessa and Bo, shout out Bo. Bo is Tommy's dog. He's been around. He's the OG. He's amazing. I love that boy. We all hop in the car and we went to Best Buy get an HDMI cord, and we start talking about, hey, like we have this Dolce and Gabbana stuff. And this is like super early. This is when like Dolce basically told Tommy and us like, hey, we want to get into esports. We want to be sort of along the lines of like FIFA, COD, normal content, like IRL lifestyle. What can you do for us? And first two people I mentioned as soon as I heard it, I was like, Castro and Rug. Those are your two. Castro, massive FIFA player, been around for a super long time, also has ties to Optic. Castro's just hilarious. Right. And Rug, obviously one of the bigger creators of the world, and signed to Phase. Right.
And he's a nice guy too. Oh, like Rug is generally a very dope dude.
Ryan's dope. I actually haven't met him in person. I've said hello here and there, just in passing. I've met, actually, you know what? That's not true. I met him once, and it was in Atlanta when I was like 18, right before I had worked for Razer.
Really?
Yeah. During the Atlanta Phase Major.
All right.
It was literally a week before global shutdown with COVID. But I met him then. But those were the first two people that I was like, hey, we should go with these two. And we had a massive long list, right? That is funneled into what it is today that you've seen and some of the creators that we worked with. But it started there, eventually kind of just worked its way along. Eventually, Razer sort of had some more, I guess, projects that I could do and really start to grow more and more. So I started to take those into account and those into effect. And then it just so happened at a certain point, Razer and Dolce kind of combined and did some stuff like that. And eventually here we are now. And we had an amazing after party at TwitchCon. The CEO of Twitch, we were the only party that the CEO showed up to. We had OTK, OTV, XQC, Nate Hill. Shout out Nate. Yeah, we had an amazing time. It was a lot of fun.
You see where Dolce is and what they're trying to do with the Italian team that they had put together, and then coming to the U.S. and trying to push it through. We see other lines coming in, right? We see the Gucci's, the LVs, the Burberry's.
Yep, Gucci, 100 Thieves, Burberry, Minecraft.
Right?
Yep.
People don't understand why.
Yeah.
Tell them why.
Just the new generation.
So
that's
culture.
Yeah, it's 100% culture.
That's all it is.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why, I don't know, say a skate shop, for an example, will do like actually, here's a great example. Iron Maiden and Zero did a collab. Iron Maiden, one of the biggest bands in the 80s and 90s metal. Even today, I mean, I still listen to Maiden. I grew up on that music, right? But Zero is a massive skate brand. And naturally, 80s, 90s was all about skate, metal, rock. So that collab hit a certain demographic and hit a certain culture of what is now, these 30 to, I'll call it like 55-year-old, just old shredders that saw it. They're like, yo, you know what? That's badass. I'm going to go buy that deck. I'm going to go buy that shirt. I'm going to go get that sticker. I'm going to go get this at XYZ, And for us, I think streetwear is massive within esports and gaming, and naturally the best streetwear is going to be your higher up Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, stuff like that. So it just makes sense for them to partner with certain big brands like 100 Thieves or Offline or Razer or Minecraft even. You saw a kind of a different one with that one, right? Because it's more of like the game development side instead of the creator side, which is super cool because not only are you getting your creators and your just normal audience that plays your game, but you're getting the collectors too and the streetwear players as well. And you're getting 3 or 4 different demographics to be like, hey, like that's sick. I really like that. Like I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah. So collaborations I like, and it was weird because I was in the clothing business way earlier with Justin Timberlake, and it was like a couple years ago, 20 years ago. Anyway, so back to the day. But I will tell you how much streetwear has changed. I remember when I was sitting there, I was at FaZe and I just bought into it, and I remember Greg at that time he gave me the hoodie. So I had the champion hoodie, but that one was the original one because it had the white on here instead of the black. Okay. So I have the prototype. Like I even have the Yachty prototype when it's on fucking Hanes.
You have to send me a picture.
I'll have it. It's crazy. So it's the only one white. Like most of them have black. I'm the one that has white, right?
Right.
But I didn't think anything of it. I'd bought into it because I understood it. I'd gamed for a while, but I hadn't really done it because it was a little bit different for my generation, right? And then I put on the sweater and I go to a bar. And they're hitting on Katie. I had to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I go to the bathroom, boom, vulture sweep, it's right hitting on Katie. And I walk out, and typically you walk back out and you have to assess the situation as a man, right? You're like, man, how do I do this? How am I going to handle this?
How do I stand out?
Right. How am I going to make this work? So I walk up, and I just stand and I start talking, and the dude looks over at my shoulder, and he goes, what's that? And I go, well, you know what this is. And he didn't talk to Katie or our friend Stephanie. He turned around, talked to me, gave me his number. His friend gave me his number, and then they took off. Yeah. Like that's when I knew, because I own a bunch of nightclubs and bars, that it was different. And I knew that we're walking in that day. They did, I don't know if you know this, that collab, they did $880,000 in 28 seconds. 28. So I remember Gray telling me, he's like, all of a sudden, Champion calls, or Lee told me when they're like, oh. They were like, stop producing this because we couldn't imagine and fathom the amount and that point of that. But then I saw other things. Collabs that weren't as hot. collabs that were overly branded, that were overly done, that was overly pushed out to people like, I don't know if I wanted to buy that brand. It almost became too much of a collaboration, right?
Yeah.
But the collaboration business to me is fundamentally the best branding business right now because you can figure it out and see if it's going to work.
Oh, for sure.
So that's crazy to me, man. And I love that you brought that up. When you talked about that event that you had and you have a whole list of people, how does one get onto that list?
Oh, man. Getting onto that list, that's a little bit tough. I mean,
what are the requirements for the list? This is his list, guys. You pay attention.
Dude, I don't think there is a requirement. I just think you need to be a nice person. I think
There's part one.
I just think you need to be nice. I think you need to be cool. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Like honestly, yeah. Like
right. That's
how I feel. Honestly, just if you're nice to me, I will be nice to you. If you're not nice to me, I will still be nice to you. Just don't mess with me. That's
because nobody wants to work with anyone that's different.
No, definitely not.
I don't think
not at all.
That.
Not at all. I think during like events, kind of thinking back to that party that Dolce and Razer did, right? I mean, there's definitely some ups and downs when it came to like, not necessarily working with people. I can understand why people are so under stress. I'm the person that is trying to mitigate that stress, right? And try to calm people down and be like, hey, like, don't worry, I got you. If you're not on this list, I'll figure this out. Just hang on. Just be patient. Wait, it's cool.
Right.
I will try to meet somebody in the middle or even go all the way to their side if I really do have to try to give them the best experience. At the end of the day, if I were flipped, right? Because I need to think about it from other people's shoes. If I were in their shoes, I know what I'm trying to do to get into this place and network, connect, grow my brand. And most people are going to shut you down. Nine times out of 10, right? If you're not on this exact list, whether it be some of the bigger creators of the world, right? And we're talking top 50 most viewed streamers on Twitch, YouTube, whatever it may be, it's really hard to get in. Obviously, and you're at a certain level and at a certain capacity within this club, and you're gonna have to follow these guidelines, right? But I guess the nice Taylor in me is like, man, like I want to see you succeed too. I want to see you succeed also. So like, let me try to help you out. Let's see what we can do. And if we can't get you into this, here's my number. Here's my contact info. Let's try to do something later on and get you to where next time we have something like this, I got you. Like it's good. 100%. It's always just about keeping those connections, keeping those, I guess, relationships with those people, being nice. And just, I've never seen a reason to be a not nice person or to not help somebody, especially for me too, right? Like going back to me being 12 or 13 years old, I never had that person to give that like guideline of like, hey, this is what you do to get into this spot. And that's another, I guess, personal KPI of mine is like, I want to be the person where if I talk to that 12, 13, 14-year-old, like that doesn't know what they want to do, where they're going, but they know they want to be in that industry just like I want to be. I'll tell them, all right, well, like, what are your interests? What do you like? Not where do you want to be? Just what do you like?
Right.
Let me help you. And then I will help you get a step-by-step as to where you want to go. It'll take you time. It might take a year. It might take 10 years. It might take 20 years. If you're willing to outlast it, go for it. Go for your passion.
I love that.
And even like going back to the collab stuff of how important that is too, to that demographic. Like people want to see that cool shit being made.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that's
they want some part of it. They want that
wearing
experience.
a collab right now. You're wearing OTF and face.
It's a great collab.
Massive. It's music and gaming. Two things that gamers and music alike are both into.
And people don't even get it. Like I listen to a lot of new music because I'm playing 2K or I'm on Madden. Yeah. I know what's going on. I'll hit the Shazam and hear what it is.
Yeah.
And make it work. And those type of collaborations are so important to business because you have a limited amount of money that you have to put in.
Right.
And you can figure out more or less what demographics are and then use a case study. And then like in that purpose is other demographics that are similar. So you're at Dolce today, maybe you're working with Prada tomorrow, making someone else afterwards. But that's where I think a lot of people miss. When they talk about these short-term collaborations, people don't realize it's the smartest, safest way to do business without the full impact of things. And I think that's something that Razer has done in such a great capacity and opportunity going from there. And I love that you're sharing that detail. When I think about the future of content creation and gaming for people to really, really stand out, like what are things that companies like you guys are looking for them to actually stand out and be like, yo, I can get this going? Is it more viewers? Is it more collaborations? What do you see as really popping?
Yeah, I think from my personal perspective, I think it's mainly just again doing cool shit. Like I don't care if it's collabing with a company, becoming a massive viewer or a massive streamer that has 10, 20, 30K viewers per stream. if we believe in you and we feel the loyalty, we will help wherever we can. We actually have the Razer affiliate program that you can sign up for as well. Getting like discounts on products, say that you're affiliated with Razer, and you can slowly work through that affiliate program up into a partnership, right? We allow people to do that. We don't believe that gaming needs to be such an exclusive space once you get to the top.
Right.
We believe that no matter where you are on, I guess I'll say a totem pole, even though I don't necessarily believe in a totem pole ranking system.
Right.
No matter where you are along that totem pole, we will help and put you into positions that we possibly can. Granted, there will be times where, there's going to be activations that are good for you and not good for you. You can't do everything.
Right.
I had to learn that. And that sucked for me because I was like, damn, like I want to do everything all the time.
Who doesn't, man?
Dude,
right?
My FOMO is extreme. I have extreme FOMO because I'm like, damn, I want to do this, that, and the other.
It's good to have that though at this age. Man.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now, it's
for
the
sure.
best thing I ever had in my life.
Oh, for sure. I have extreme FOMO of just wanting to be there, wanting to be a part. And I know there's other people out there that are just like me that have that are like, man, like I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah, no matter where you are, whether you have 2 viewers, 20 viewers, 200 viewers, 2,000 viewers, 20,000, 200,000 even, because that's kind of where certain viewership is now going, right? For just an average streamer. Man, just be nice. We'll help wherever we can. At any way that we can possible. We don't hold an exclusivity to anybody.
I love that, man. I think of all these other different collaborations. One of my other favorite one, I talked about this a couple of days ago, I'll say it again, is the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce one, right?
Yeah.
Now I know you're a big Eagles fan, and I know you like Kelce. But what do you think about this, man? Is it a real deal?
My Kelce and Swift duo is DeAndre Swift and Jason Kelce.
There you go, DeAndre Swift.
That's my Kelce Swift
this is a
combo.
real Eagles fan right here. Dude.
But no, I can't lie. I do watch the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis, and I absolutely love their content. I've actually found myself watching it every week whenever it releases, kind of following along everything that's happening. I've had some amazing moments. I think the Swift Kelce collab, I mean, obviously it is a relationship. You can tell it's a real relationship, but it's their own thing, and that's great for them. I think it's cool. I mean, she won the Super Bowl. So.
Dude, I feel like an ultimate.
They won the Super Bowl, man. I can't say nothing.
It's crazy. They didn't just win it. Like, I was sitting there looking at it, and I was like, bro, they're going to tie it, and it's going to go to overtime, and then they're just going to score. It's going to be a touchdown. It was kind of almost like obvious, right? In a sense.
It was. It's really weird that like throughout the season, you're like, oh, like maybe they're not that good anymore. Maybe they're not doing that great. Maybe there's some internal troubles. Yeah, maybe they're having some troubles. Maybe this, that, the other. And then they get to the playoffs and they're like, oh, what were they, like the 3 or the 4 seed or something like that? Like, oh, all road games. Good luck. Sure enough, like they're in the Super Bowl. Like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh. Maybe they win. Like, this is crazy. Start out super slow too. It's just game, dude. Literally going into the second half. I was talking to the people that were around me. And I was like, dude, this is not good. Like a 10-point lead against the Chiefs in the second half is not gonna work. Like this is gonna go down to the wire, or they're just gonna outright just beat them. And sure enough, they did. I think obviously the football is so like shoulda, woulda, coulda. As an example, did you see there was, I guess, like a story that Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers, didn't understand the overtime rule of like even if they score a touchdown, the Chiefs still get the ball back.
Right.
And I was like, as soon as I got the field goal, I was like, game's over.
Right.
You're giving Mahomes and his offense
the whole thing to score.
A chance to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
They have 8 minutes. They have time. Like, you will be dwindled down.
Mahomes does it right.
Mahomes 28 with 3 rings.
28 with the championship. Dude, the guy is a king, man. I mean,
with 3 rings.
And to come the way he came, but the other shot God is Purdy, man. Like
it's another one.
Dude, that guy is gas. I love the fact that people I've lived my life as an underdog. I think a lot of us have, and I will tell you, man, it's really hard to be an underdog and not turn out to be a dickhead.
Oh,
because there's such a chip on your shoulder. Like, you're pissed about everything. And I didn't get mine, and that person got theirs, and it wasn't because you think you deserve it. It's just you worked your fucking ass off to get to somewhere,
sure.
and that person's shit out. But that guy, man, I mean, I said this in the things. I can't remember a guy who was the leader of a freaking team, and it wasn't about him anymore. And then in popular media, right? It wasn't about him. At that point, it's about Kelsey and Taylor. And then most leaders at that point are low. And then I've never seen anyone who had to deal with a brother, a father, and then going into it. And man, I hate the Chiefs. I'm a Broncos fan, but I gotta give them love. I gotta give you gotta be honest about it. And and he's really great at what he does, and it's almost scary. And then you look at the Hunt family as a whole, like Gracie, man, pageant winner, looker, good looking people on stage, great stage presence. And you think to yourself, that's a football team that I want to follow, right? It's not some old guy who's getting jerked off at a salon or something, or someone else. No, if that's going or anything that's there. It's somebody who actually wants to know, who has family values and core values.
Dude, I mean,
that's crazy to me.
You look at the Eagles Super Bowl as an example. Literally, we were called the underdogs.
You guys were the whole time, man.
That year, we wore dog masks. I have the vivid picture of Kelsey wearing a dog mask. I actually still have the Super Bowl 52 shirt that has a dog with a collar that says the Eagles on it.
That's so funny.
I mean, you literally take you literally take this team that is doing so good, and then week 11 comes by, like week 12 or something like that, and your MVP quarterback at the time tears his ACL in the end zone. And then it's like, well, damn, like we have a great team, and Nick Foles has been a part of it for a long time, but I guess we'll see.
Arizona, let's go. What's wrong with it? Yeah, it was like Nick was. Let's go, Nick.
Yeah, and then carries us all the way,
dude.
All the way into a Super Bowl and beats Tom Brady, the GOAT.
Brady.
What is he? He lost 2 to Eli Manning and 1 to Nick Foles. Those are his 3. Dude, visiting that statue at that stadium after us.
Nick Foles, baby. The great Nick Foles. You know what's crazy was that year that you guys won that one. Me and Katie we go to Egypt.
Oh wow!
And there's 3 or 4 guys wearing Eagle hats. And so I walk up, and the first time in Egypt, and I'm like, "Yo, the Eagles," and he's like, "Yes, we saw the championship. We like Nick Foles," and they knew what the hell was going on. And this is Egypt, and I like the kid. I was like, "Damn, like that was crazy to see how international." But that year, man, that run was great. And then you guys get Jalen, and that's a whole different saga. And then you continue on. And then you got these Kelsey brothers, and I like the traditions. I like the way it's headed. I remember watching back in the day from Cunningham. I mean, this is how football I remember from Randall Cunningham, dude. Like literally, that's how the Eagles were so black and white. Like the green and the white thing to where we're at now, and to see where it is. What's really excited me was the amount of media attention internationally that football was getting, because I feel like for that to grow and the sport to grow, and for people to continue to do collaborations, I think the hardest thing for football players is you can't see their faces. Like, you don't know what the guys look like, right? So we're at Super Bowl parties, right? We're going to all these places like, oh, that was so-and-so, that was so-and-so. And unless you're a true fan, it's almost virtually impossible to spot.
There was a couple that I walked past and I had to do a double take. Like, oh, we're at the Gatorade party, actually.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
The one that really stood out, just because it's always the same, that hat flipped up with the bill, was Steve Smith.
Dude, Steve, that threw me off.
Smitty's a great dude. I was sitting there talking to him, chilling with him. He's cool. Obviously, knowing what his crew is like, I didn't really mess with him too hard. I didn't want him to fuck me up. But he was a great dude. He was nice to meet.
He was like cool. An oak. Like
100%.
The guy was probably 5'8", 5'9".
He was my height. Yeah.
But width wise, I mean, he was solid.
He was big.
And it's funny because Dell played ball with him over there, right?
Right.
So he's like, oh man, he was always like that. But I didn't realize that he was only like 5'8", 5'9", and he dominated. Like he was 6'5", like he dominated. And to me, that was really, really crazy. The one that stood out to me a lot that I saw was Cam Newton. Man, that guy could dress. He had a purple hat on.
He dresses.
Man, I was like, damn.
He dresses. His fashion sense is very out there but confident.
Dude, he's got that Russell Westbrook thing, man. He's got that swag on point. And
his podcast is good too.
Oh,
this 4th and 1 podcast. I love it.
Is it good? I've never heard it.
It is.
Oh wow. Well, I bet you it's as good as his swag, because I saw that and I was like, damn, Cam's got some style, bro. Like that through. Because you look at the other guys, you're like, man, yeah. But Cam was like, oh
yeah.
And you could see him from a mile away, man. I mean, he's a lot bigger in person. I'm 6'4", 6'5". That guy was like 6'7". He was huge.
Yeah.
So that is the crazy part about it. Who do you see right now that's coming into the league that you're excited for?
Dude, in all honesty, I don't even really pay attention to college
Really?
all that much. I'm really excited to see where Jahmyr Gibbs' career goes. Same with David Montgomery. Raheem Mostert had an amazing year. Shout out Austin, my guy, his agent. Raheem had an amazing year. He's an older guy too, but he's doing really good. Wherever DeAndre Swift goes, wherever Hassan Reddick goes, if he stays with the Birds or goes somewhere else. I'm really excited to see the growth and potential of Brock Purdy as well. I mean, to start, what was it, a year and a half ago, basically as a starter in Week 7, make it to NFC Championship, losing to the Eagles. Obviously, I know there's a lot of drama about that because he injured himself, but it is what it is. And then the next year going to a Super Bowl. I mean, that's pretty crazy. In a year and a half of you playing, you go to a NFC Championship and a Super Bowl. And it's crazy. So I think from early pro side, I'm excited for a lot of people. From the college side, not really into college that much. I see them once they get to the pros or like the very ending, right? During like I watch the playoffs and stuff. So I'm excited to see kind of those kind of guys. But
I got 4 guys I'm going to tell you that I think are great, are going to be great in the league. 4 or 5 guys. And the crazy part is they're all gamers. Okay. And here's where it gets crazy.
I feel like most are now.
But that's the point. Like, never, like, when I grew up, like, I'd play football, I'd play basketball, and then I get the game, but it wasn't, like, a part of life. In other words, like it is now, like, that's their identity. Yeah. I got a couple of guys that I'm talking to, and they're like, hey, man, this guy's trying to make the league, but the biggest problem is they don't think he's focused. He's always gaming. And I'm like, man, they don't get it. They don't get why he's gaming. They don't get that actually is his focus. It allows him to focus and reliably deliver. And that, to me, is one of the craziest parts. But when you see these guys, their love for gaming is so much more bigger than what I would have ever thought it was, because they don't even care about the NIL. They care about NIL deals, but when it comes to gaming, it's a little bit different ball game. Yeah, you know. So 100%. So it was a surprise to me to see like these college guys now getting ready for pro and they're playing, and I can tell you, shout out to Jared versus Javante G-Baptiste, Amari Ferrari, and Trey. You know, and Trot Jr. He loves playing video games, right? And so all these young guys are coming and playing video games, getting ready to go, pushing forward, and now they want to be on camera. That excites me for the future. Because when I was growing up, you had to be on the camera when you had to, but you weren't on the camera because you didn't want the drama. Right. And then social media happened. Then it was, okay, you want to be on the camera because you have to stay relevant. But now they just generally want to be the camera because they want to show and help and be happy and understand it's part of the culture. Yeah. And to me, any brands that work with them like yours will be the future because they can only grow their audience. And you remember from 11 till now, right? 11 to now, it's just like that, right? I remember talking to guys who were 11 or 12, 15, like Merg, and now the guy's freaking 22, and like I'm working with them Magic, and I'm like, what the heck? I know you said you're 15. Like one of those situations, you know? Right. But it's also important that we have guys like you and me and us to literally maintain the status quo that it should have been.
100%. I think working with athletes in sports is definitely going to be a big passion of mine these next coming years, working with some of those guys. Right. I mean, you look at, just to name a couple, right? Kyler Murray with FaZe. You look at even Deshaun Jackson, actually. You know I keep mentioning Eagles players, but like Deshaun Jackson owns his own gaming organization, Hall of Fame Gaming, signed Smith, one of the better Warzone players of the world. I forget who is his other person.
Bryce Hall plays too. Those are the Eagles too.
Yeah, Bryce, Gardner.
Yeah, Gardner plays. Hall, I never talked to him a little bit because he was with Austin. They were doing like kind of the gaming stuff as well. You know,
I feel like literally most athletes, whether it be NFL, NBA, MLB, will play a video game at some point, or they play video games to escape reality. And that's what it was for me, right? Is just I grew up as a depressed, anxious, extremely just social, anxious person, right? And just stressed out guy, you know. Right. It was only with gaming that I really felt a sense of escape and relaxation and being with my actual friends and learning more about just how to be socially and how to be I learned so much networking just by playing off of just online video games just with my friends, dude, and just talking to people. Like, you talk with these randoms every day sometimes, and it's just like, well, you're cool. Like, you want to play sometime? They're like, yeah, sure, why not? And it just goes from there. I mean, that was my escape, and that was my actual relaxation. So that was my time to really be like, oh, you know what? Like, what if I got into this as a career? So, and the same way with NFL and athletes, you know, playing sports is probably their escape from reality as well as playing video games. You know?
Right.
So it's a really cool kind of mixture. Now,
I think it's a great mixture. I think it's going to unite people more. I mean, I've seen the difference between my generation and guys who are in athletes and sports and your guys' generation. And man, it's definitely a very different generation, but it's a more consciously aware and more universal generation, which is what I really appreciate in your guys' current generation, because it is a more of a I care about the world scenario as opposed to we care about ourselves or some of us or, you know, our block per se. So I think that's super exciting, man. You know, as we're moving forward and talking about this, where do you see coming up in the esports world? You're like, man, this is going to be a banger.
Man, there's a couple. I think everybody right now is a banger, to be honest. Like just
nice.
Just creating content in yourself is amazing. Whether you have one viewer or 1,000, like and some are the most unlikely to blow up, but they do sometimes now, and it doesn't matter. I think from an esports perspective, I'm really, really excited to see the growth of Valorant, because that's in its infancy stages. It's been around for what, a year, 2 years, and they're still growing at a ridiculous pace.
And I put money behind it too, which is important, because 100%. A lot of guys didn't put money behind stuff.
Finally, somebody. Finally, a publisher that's like, you know what, dude? Yeah, like we want to support our esports programs. I mean, it's a little bit easier, right, when you have League of Legends on your side, and you grow basically the biggest esport in the world. But it's so nice to see that you're getting support from these places to allow you to create a career off of your gameplay and allow you to be a pro player, whether it be League, Valorant, or like Dota. Counter-Strike has been around for 20 years, just with doing their stuff. Fighting game tournaments, FGC is massive too. I hope this is just me a little bit personally. I hope COD and Overwatch can do the same at a certain point, you know, especially with how passionate I am.
$25 million freaking franchise taxes. Ridiculous. It's terrible decision. I said a terrible decision.
Insane. It's kind of hard. I think it's much easier to follow, say, FaZe versus Team Heretics, than it is Miami Heretics versus Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah.
But also the same regard, I understand the thought behind it, right? Of like, okay, like franchising. We want it to be kind of more of a mainstream sport. We're on this rise. That's cool, but there's so much money.
Yeah.
So much
There's
money.
no money to be made off of that at this current moment. Not with the viewership or that price tag and the lack of patience in development.
Right. Obviously.
That's the problem. They don't develop.
Oh, right. Obviously, you and I don't know the exact specific number of what they are, negative, positive, or anything like that. But from
I can't tell anybody publicly, but
right.
You know what I'm saying.
right. But at the same time, I mean,
but self-help though, right? Because but there's a growth thing, and this is what I want to say. They shit on it because y'all 20, 25, 30 tops.
Yep.
So everyone, my generation shits on it because it should have been us. We just didn't have the fucking tech. We were already setting up the tournaments. We were already in college doing the landlines and the halos. We were doing that. We were playing 2K as kids against each other.
Garage land tournaments. Too.
That was all
so
us.
many stories.
That was me,
I mean, you look at Ogre 1, Ogre 2, Flame Sword.
Oh my god, I had birthday parties.
Even Ninja back then.
Dude, that's
where Ninja started.
And the difference was you wouldn't record because if you had money, then you would have a camcorder. But we didn't have money, so it was like, oh, we got the console. We were recording shit, right? So we didn't have that part of it. And when I went to college, that's when social media, I was a sophomore, and then social media happened. And I was like, damn, I'm in college at this point. Anyways,
it's like MySpace.
Yeah, dude, I have MySpace. But
that's MySpace.
If anyone knows my account, dude, please find it for me so I can find those photos.
Oh, man, I don't even know.
Dude, there was Justin Timberlake got bought in that, too. I don't know if you know that. He bought in it and tried to take a music space, and it didn't work out. But, you know, what I see happens is the same thing that happens in every corporation, and this is a cautionary tale of anyone that's born in company. You make a lot of money, you do a lot of great things, you do amazing things. You got to make more money. So then you start getting investors to come in, then you start to make more money, then you get VCs to come in, then you start to make more money, and then eventually you end up going public. What happens to a lot of the companies, especially you guys at this age, like stay true to the cause and growth, but don't do it based off of greed and don't do it based off of ego, because we've already seen what happens. And this isn't just in esports, this is in everything.
Right.
But I think if they do it the way that they've been doing it, you see a guy like Jake and Logan Paul, they're just killing it more than any of us. You know, you got Logan freaking flying into Saudi, going against Roman Reigns. You got him punching somebody in the face and flying around the world and, you know, doing Prime videos. And when I see that type of stuff, even in a short amount of time, like 3-4 years ago, he was, you know, people were talking shit to him, right? He's, Japan and this and that and this. And now where he is, that's how quickly the world can change, you know? And so it excites me to see the collaborations in the future of gaming and esports as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll only keep growing. And now, you know, you see this thing where creators are making a massive brand, like Prime, with KSI and Logan, or like you know, stuff like that, like to where now other people are going to do that exact same thing, and it's going to only keep growing. And then they're going to have that passion in esports and gaming, and then they're going to start sponsoring all these things. You know, it's a kind of a different thing thinking about the 12 to 13, no, I would say like 12 to 18-year-old headspace, because that's where you're really going to get all of your stuff. Where you are now, you're going to think, oh, like this, that, and the other is going to be cool, right? That's the whole thing I have with like Minecraft and Burberry.
Right.
Super dope, super awesome. What 12 to 18-year-old do you know that's going to go out and buy a $400 shirt from Minecraft and Burberry? You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. Super cool, super dope for the space. But you're not making it for
everybody,
your target audience. You're not making it for the people that deserve it, that follow it, that really push it. You know, and that's something that sticks out with us is, you know, we want to, me personally, I would love to create a dope collab that's affordable. Whether, I mean, Champion does a really good job at that. Amazing job with Champion. Even certain creators, Dr. Disrespect actually is a massive one. Makes his own merch, right? Has his own tag, has everything, but his shirts are $20. Like, yeah, obviously I'm gonna buy a Doc shirt for $20. I'm supporting him. It's $20. It's paying it forward to him, and it's great merch. It's great quality. It's awesome. I bought some of it myself. Actually, I love it. I think it's amazing stuff.
It is, and I think they got really smart because you saw how they continue to grow their brands. What excites me more, dude, is like, dude, none of these dudes are in Asia. Dr. Strike in Asia. There's no social media in Asia. There is no Twitch. There is no YouTube. There isn't this. So everyone we know, all the homies you and I know, dude, they haven't even tapped 50% of the world. To me, that's the scariest part. Think about everyone we know, even Ninja. He ain't in China, man. Isn't that scary to you? Now, Shroud, that guy, I remember being on a phone call, man, you know, Korean dude or and the China guys, they call me, they go, yo, there are 2 guys I want. And he was one of the guys. And they were willing to pay 7 figures. 7 figures to do that, right? 7 figures for FaZe in Asia. 7 figures to do that. Like these are the deals that you're working out across over there because there is a presence and growing. And it's funny because everything is made there. But for some reason, no one ends up thinking about going back over there and actually selling it. And then you look at Nike, and you see how well Nike's grown and their stocks and their amount of growth that they've had because they go back and they're buying. So you go to, you know, you're in China and you buy these fucking Jordans and they're like $50 over there, $40 to be made. And then they ship it over here. We're like, what, 180, 200 here. And by the time they get back to China, they're like $450 for the same pair of Jordans because of the taxes and everything else. I really see the Asia thing, you know, not just China, but as a whole for gaming as a very good thing because it's such a big amount of people.
All of Asia. I mean, our headquarters in Southeast Asia, Singapore. But I think, translating, I guess, from Europe/Asia over to America is a lot easier than America over to Asia. I mean, you look at people like Faker, for an example, in League, right? Dude is everywhere. Coming to my mind, I think the only person that I can think, well, I guess technically 2, we were just talking about it, is Prime. Prime is literally already a global brand. It's crazy. It's everywhere. And the hype of it is everywhere because you have Logan, right, in America, massive following in America. People want to try this drink. It's nice, it's healthy, it's good. It gives you electrolytes, gives you energy, whatnot, all that stuff, right? You have Logan here. Well, then you have KSI in Europe, who's one of the biggest names out of Europe that I can think of when it comes to, I mean, this dude is in music, gaming. Vic, actually, I met at Esports Awards. Vic was a great dude. That was part of the Sidemen with him. I'm a massive Sidemen fan also.
That was dope. And he could play it too.
Oh,
he was
sure.
a good DJ.
But even Vic, right? Like Vic invested in the Royal Ravens when COD League started, right? So they're doing amazing stuff, and KSI is massive over there too. So they already have one continent, right? They have North America too, and then they're expanding everywhere. So I think Saudi Arabia is actually massive for them right now too.
Eventually, y'all gonna have to call Asia, and y'all gonna have to call me. So you might as well just do it now.
Call David now.
We'll all make it happen.
Call David.
But that dude, honestly, that's a funny joke I tell everyone. I tell all the guys in the industry, I'm like, well, you have to call Asia and try to eventually, and I go, motherfucker, that's they're like you, and I'm like, that's the point, right?
Careers wise, it's tough.
It is.
From like our perspective, right? Like the Razer perspective, it's a little bit easier because we're a product.
Yeah.
Product is much easier
to push
to push and be like, hey, you guys, this is cool. I think you'll like it. Especially when it comes to gamers, because everybody's going to need a keyboard. Everybody's going to need a mouse. Everybody's going to need a headset, a mouse mat.
A mic stand.
Laptop. Yeah, mic stand, microphone, camera. Something.
Right.
Like, that's going to be easy for us. But from the creator, like,
it's very hard.
As an example, we'll do like Jinxie. Right, dude is how old? Not even like 20 years old yet, and blew up just by playing console Rainbow Six Siege, and literally just creating a whole new perspective of looking at it, and I guess adding more to the culture of what the language is and the lingo and the
all of
this, that, and the other, right? But if you go to Asia, who knows him, maybe the only, like, dude, off the top of my head, like hardcore streamer, like maybe like Kai Sinat, and like the AMP guys.
Kai's pretty, known over there. The FaZe guys are pretty known. I mean, obviously I did that, the deal. The Liquid guys are known.
Yep.
But what I've also realized is it's two things. Like I said, one, these companies are only thinking North America, Europe. They don't think Asia, which to me, that's my argument, right? From Deloitte, my biggest argument is, the world's 70% Asian. Why the fuck aren't you doing anything about it? And they look at me like I'm on crazy pills, and like, well, you have a point. I'm like, you bust your ass for 6% of the world. It's the United States. It's only 6%. That's it. Asia's 10 times that. What are we doing here? Not without doing here, but if you're going to expand in this area, that's important. The other thing, content creators, where it's really lacked, dude, there's no culture, man. The Asian guys, and this is just from my Asian dudes, trying to come over here. There's culture things over there. I almost feel like if they teamed it up the way they did a KSI, the way they did a Logan Paul, and really push it out where it's more cultural and taught the culture of it instead of like some of the things where they just kind of stay at home all day long and really be part of it, I think that would grow the sport more because it shows more normalcy. I think even I, who's part of the industry, I can game 8, 10, 15 hours a day, and I can stream if I have to.
Yeah.
But eventually, there's not a normality to it. You have to go eat, you have to go sleep, you have to go hang out with people, you have to play with your friends, whatever else.
You have obligations.
You have the obligations to actually be an adult and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could cross-brand these collaborational, international side of it, I can see a giant collaboration there. And Razer's interesting because you guys are in Singapore. So that, to me, is such a great opportunity,
for sure.
I think, for the future, right?
For sure. We do sponsor different teams and content creators based off those.
I love it.
Those different regions as well, too.
That's amazing.
Like I said, we're inclusive to everybody.
I love it.
We're not an exclusive brand. Me personally, I don't care if you're streaming from a cave in Australia. Like, if you're loving it and you're doing it and you're gonna grow that way,
that's all
cool.
that matters.
Dude, I mean, you look at different like TikTokers now, bro. Like the people that are just normal everyday insurance sellers are making TikToks about their normal day and blowing up, like doing great. Oh man, I forgot his name, but started at Cold Stone and did all the ice cream videos and like chopped them all up and did something cool with that. And I think he now owns his own like ice cream shop and like that blew up too. And he's like actually developing like an entire business based off that. It's so cool. You can just create content. Like
I love that. One thing I would tell also, I was thinking about as you're saying this is, how do you make, as a content creator, one thing I tell all my guys is, how do you last 40 years? How do you last 30 years? How do you last consistently 20 years and make money? And I always tell them, like, I've seen a lot of guys come in 3, 4, or 5 years, make a ton of money, become really famous, and just disappear. You never hear from them again.
Sure.
Then they never made it back up.
Yeah.
Now they're doing something. I think that will also be a very cautionary tale for the up and coming industry, because what they do and who they listen to will affect everything else. So being careful not running the same things we ran into in the previous times, I think will be important as well, man. I think there's not a lot of there's a lot less gatekeeping than it used to be, but I think like you guys, like you and I, who are sitting there willing to give out people all the information, will make such a difference in the sport, man, and everything else that we have.
Yeah.
So let me wrap it up and ask you this: if there was all the things that you've done and all the amazing opportunities you've had in such a short amount of great time, if you could give someone one piece of advice, what would that be?
Keep going.
I love it. Keep going.
Keep going. Grind. Don't stop. Dude, if I were to have a dime for everybody that told me no, or is the amount of time I said, no, that's not going to work. Like, are you sure? Like, this isn't a career or anything like that. Man, I probably wouldn't have to work in this industry because I would have $1 billion something dollars. So, no, man, find your passion, find what you love, and do what you want to do. I mean, like, if you truly believe in something, there's a reason why you believe in it. You have a gift.
Yep.
Like, you have this gift, and you are literally being told straight up, this is your gift. Go and do it. Because if you do it, more likely than not, you will be successful at it. Mine was gaming. Some people are sports. Somebody might wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, I want to start like a taxi business.
That's right. As long as you do it,
and just do it, man. Just do what you love. Enjoy your time. There's going to be stressful moments. There's going to be stressful times, obviously. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But it's just about pushing that. You know, the hardest lessons are learned through heartbreak and learned through rough times, and they're what really carry you into making the best possible person. And I don't want to say employee, but I guess person and brand that you are to others.
Yeah.
So
that runs a quote where like, any man can be happy when things are going good. It's when a real man finds his character when things go bad.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's really where you find it. Man, Taylor, thank you for all your wisdom, love. Give everybody your social media and where to follow you.
Yeah, for sure. So my Instagram and Twitter is gonna be at Daiquiri. It's
Daiquiri.
Yeah, at Daiquiri, but it's not even spelled like normal Daiquiri. It's DAKUIRII. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Hit me up there. You can find me on LinkedIn, just with my name as well. If you ever want to connect, kind of talk. Don't care if you're 13 or 23. If you just want to,
blessing, man.
Yeah, if you just need a mentor, early mentor, a partnership, man, you just let me know. But dude, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for having me, man. And for David Chen and the Pandanomics Podcast crew, I thank you for another edition here in Vegas. And keep your heads up and keep going. We'll talk to you soon.